Mic check, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2.
Well, we're back here at the rinks at Anaheim Ice. It's episode 7 of the report card here in season 2. Welcome everybody to downtown Anaheim. I'm Eric Castellano, you know the commissioner Matt Blanchard, and stepping in for the first time this season, Jonathan Boyko. So glad you could join us
It's
yesterday.
a pleasure to be here. Thank
Welcome
you.
aboard, Code
Thank
2.
you. I know. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Everybody around here has a nickname. Yours is Code 2, of course. That's what we have to call over the radio to respond. He's the medic here for the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League.
Yep.
So, the one thing I wanted to ask you right off the top of the show so people get to know you a little bit better is what's it like being down there and whenever there is a medical response and you've got to jump back and forth between rinks, how quickly are you able to get down there and be able to assess the situation while the game's going on, while everything's stopped and all that kind of stuff? How do you manage the chaos?
It's a matter of just focusing and doing what you need to do, prioritizing where you need to go and how you need to get the player off the ice. If you need to
I
get the
can
player
answer
off
that
the
question.
ice,
He does it well.
I do it well.
Some days are better than others, but he does it well.
I mean, you employed him, so
Yeah, I know.
I'd imagine.
Yes.
Only the best.
Well, we're glad you can make it.
Thank you.
Jonathan obviously stepping in today for Chuck Lasik and Matt Blanchard stepping in for Mike Perkins, of course. So we still got a full house here
This
today.
is my third episode. I feel like how many has Perkins done? 4? And I'm 3?
Yeah, you're catching him.
Catching them.
It's the all-star team right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We finally got the combination right after twisting things around throughout the whole season. We got a great show for you here today. We've got a lot of segments. We've got 2 teams joining us on the show today. We've got one of the players of the month from the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League from back in December. And then the one thing that we've been looking forward to for a
this is
long
good.
time.
This is good.
We're going to reveal the top 5 Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League regular season games of all time. This was a rigorous process.
It was. I didn't think we played that many games, but there's been a lot of games played. And having seen the list of top 5 to go all the way back to where you've went,
Yeah.
full games, is pretty good. Pretty
I'm
good.
gonna give a spoiler off the top right here. Our number 1 game, there's no video footage of it that exists.
Is there even audio? Was it audio?
There's got to be audio somewhere. Yeah, there's audio.
Yeah.
We couldn't find it.
Have we tried YouTube?
But to your credit,
It ain't on YouTube.
to your credit, you actually found the score sheet to the game.
No. Not
Yes.
to my credit.
Yes,
To
yes.
your credit.
No.
You found the score sheet.
Right, yes, we have it. Yes,
Actually, to the scorekeeper updating it in the iPad.
yes.
Were iPads even? I don't even know.
I don't even
if
know.
iPads
Were they
existed
still
then.
back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to look that up. So we've had a lot of games played in the league since our last show, which was back in the middle of December, actually. It was the week after the Vegas showcase. After today, we will have covered 10 of the 13 teams in Division 1 and Division 2. We'll have 3 more to go. We've opened Gray Park Ice, 5 Point Arena. We've played a couple games there, so there's a lot that we have to talk about. I wanted to start by talking about 5 Point Arena. How great is that place? You've both been there. We both had a time.
I need to get a scooter.
A lot of walking in between.
I walked 10,203 steps in one day.
Yeah, you could easily get your 10,000
And I went up 3 floors.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, I feel bad for our first guest, Bellarmine, because they won't get to see it this year. And maybe in the playoffs. Yeah, playoffs. So it's epic. I mean, it's a beautiful state-of-the-art arena. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. Well, you brought up Bellarmine, so I guess it's only just a natural transition. Now we welcome in the guys from Bellarmine College Prep. Thanks so much for joining us, head coach David Guy, Chris Mells, David Wynn, and Griffin Burke. Thanks, guys, for coming out. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
So, Coach, I'll start with you. Beginning of the year, you guys start off, great win streak, go 4-0. It's been rough since, but still, everybody goes to the playoffs, so it's almost like you get to start with a clean slate, but you do have almost a month off, if not a little bit more than a month before playoffs. How are you guys going to stay fresh before you come back down here for postseason play?
Biggest thing we got to do is get healthy. Matt and I had a conversation this weekend. Our injury sheet this year and kids being out and sick, we've got probably more games lost this year than I've ever seen. So the month off's actually welcome. It gives us a chance to get all those guys back and healthy and get some games under their belt and get them back going again. So really, really looking forward to some time to heal.
Yeah, you mentioned the injuries. I think last night we were counting 7 that are out of play right at this particular moment. A lot of fresh faces that got to play last night in what was a pretty fantastic game against Orange Lutheran. You guys got a point out of that game. How do you manage the club when you have that many kids out of the lineup?
Well, this year's been a huge challenge in that sense. I mean, certainly, we were looking at the numbers this morning. We had 27 players on our roster last year, that 6 made it on this trip. So we've had a huge turnover. A lot of young players. The young players have really stepped up and learned to play in an environment that was a big change for them coming out of travel hockey at 14s. It's just a matter of trying to keep positive, keep the focus in a positive direction for the kids, so that they're able to see the benefit of what they're accomplishing. Not focusing on the wins and losses necessarily, just focusing on becoming better players. So we've had some success with that, and I think last night was a real good example of that. A lot of young kids in the lineup that were able to contribute and play a considerable number of minutes last night.
Yeah, it was a real great game last night here against Orange Lutheran, one that went all the way to a shootout, 5-round shootout. You talk about players stepping up. You got 2 all-stars here sitting to your right in Chris Mells and David Wynn. What have they meant to your program over the last few years?
I mean, these guys are fantastic. This is our core leadership group, and when we're talking about injuries and young players and how we've been able to manage success this year, a huge amount of credit goes to these guys. In the locker room, off the ice, at school, everywhere. They're model students and model people, and have done a fantastic job of staying positive too. It's been amazing to see, and David and Chris being all-stars this year. It's great to see them get that recognition. This is David's 3rd year in the all-star game. We're really shooting for him to hopefully make it 4 next year, but he's a great example of what we try to get out of all of our players, and he's been leading just by his play on the ice. It's really fun to see.
It's funny you mentioned that. Matt and I were talking last night, seeing if David could make it a clean sweep and make it all 4 years, plus an MVP to your record as well in the All-Star games.
Yeah.
I want to ask Griffin real quick. You're the senior amongst the bunch over here. What's it been like for you seeing these guys come up behind you as underclassmen?
Well, this is going back to freshman year. There's been just a tremendous amount of growth, specifically on both these kids. The transition between their sophomore and junior year, it's like they come out as like a totally different style of players. Going to their junior year, just faster, stronger. All the off-season work, off-ice work they're putting in during the summer, it's all paying off right now, which is excellent to see.
Tell me, I run the league and I'm all hockey, but I'm always more curious to what you guys do about off the ice stuff. Do you guys? I'm assuming the school has requirements for service hours. You've got to put in X amount of hours per month, per year, whatever it may be. Do you guys do that as a group? Do you do that individually? Does the hockey team promote that at all? How do you guys work in the community to promote yourselves in the program?
Well, I'll go last year when we came down for the Thanksgiving tournament. I know we went to
Skid Row.
Skid Row. We've done that twice now. We used to have a training camp up in Tahoe preseason, Lake Tahoe area.
Yeah.
We'd go. We do a beach cleanup. So we all do that together. It's part of our school's mission statement is being a man for and with others.
So you do that as a team and you do that as a group?
Yeah,
okay.
all as a team.
Okay, that's good. I assume there's no academic issues on the team. It's a very fine institution that you guys all attend. Tell me what your favorite classes are in each of you.
So with you?
I'm a big fan. I like to, let's see, I'll say economics, macroeconomics.
Okay.
Favorite subject of mine.
What do you want to do?
Yeah, something along the lines of that.
Okay. David?
For me, it's probably one in the religion courses. Like I'm taking like a social justice class, and same thing with Christian ethics.
Okay.
And like, I just like the teacher, really. Yeah. I mean, the course is fine, but I just love the teacher.
It's funny that he says that because we had Christian.
Yeah, Dalton. I had the same teacher too. I'll say that one class is called social justice. You'll get more out of that class at our institution. It's like everyone who's had that class with that teacher says it's the most meaningful class they've ever taken.
Really?
We've all had it. We can all agree.
Really? So it's a good. Has the teacher come out to a hockey game at all?
Unfortunately, no.
No?
No.
Okay, well there's a homework assignment for you, huh?
Yeah.
Some extra credit opportunity.
Yeah. So you guys, the team plays it in the Sharks League as well, from what I understand. How is that? Not that I want to know how the competition is, but what's that league like? Is it the same level? Is it the school? Is it more attended because they're rival schools? How does that play out for you guys in the Sharks League?
This is the third year of the league, and I can say for sure since the first year there's been a tremendous increase in the level of play. Like you're seeing more teams that can more competition. Like Tahoe Hockey Academy recently joined. But the level of competition is definitely getting way higher than it was when the league first started, which is good to see for Northern California.
So Griffin, I have a question. You're a senior, right?
Yes.
You got plans for college, or are you going to play juniors, or what are you going to do?
I'm hoping to go straight to a 4-year college right now. I'm hoping to continue with playing club hockey.
Do you have your colleges picked out already, or?
I'm narrowing them down, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I know.
The other two guys are smiling because they're like, we don't have to worry about it yet. They got one more year.
We're starting that right now.
Have you guys taken your ACTs yet, or SATs yet, or is that still?
The next couple of months.
I'm ahead of the curve a little bit because I have a twin sister who's on it, so she's kind of dragged me along too. So I've already taken a couple tests. Right?
Okay, nice.
So you guys, we talked about the competition between the Sharks League, between the Ducks League. How nice has it been the last couple of years to be able to play just about half your games at home and then half of them down here, kind of helping the travel out a little bit?
It's great because I feel like if you just focus all your, or at least for us, if we just played in either Northern California or Southern California, we'd be missing an aspect. Like I feel like who we play in Northern California contributes to our style of play, and like how we play down here and vice versa.
What do you guys enjoy most about traveling?
Well, for me, it would be the bus rides for sure. I know. I mean, you hear about traveling like 7 hours down on the bus with the team. Like you don't think that'd be the highlight of the weekend, but
what's the most popular movie on the bus?
The dip run, I would say. Actually, one of our a senior on the team, Spencer Knapp, a great player. He was actually a producer on the movie The Dip Run.
Okay.
So he has an IMDb feature if you want to check him out.
Get it for free.
More importantly, who decides where to eat on the bus?
That's our
We've got a pretty standard list of that kind of falls on us from the coaching side.
Here's a league-related question. Who do you consider your biggest rival in the Ducks League?
I mean,
That's tough.
I would say
I'll say
Tahoe.
I'll say when I
Makes sense. Yeah.
I'll say when I first started, when I was a freshman on the team, I'd say probably Santa Margarita along those lines, just because they're one of the most competitive teams. Still are back then, but they were back then too.
Yeah.
But yeah, since Tahoe won the league, and same with St. Mary's, I think, which will grow into more of a rivalry.
St. Mary's is still young though. With Tahoe, it's like we played them last year, and I mean, if you guys, yeah, exactly. Like if you've seen our games, I'm sure you have. But like,
Now, have you guys have gone to the Tahoe rink to play games there?
Not play games there, but we occasionally have a training camp up there. Yeah. So yeah, we'll go up there to get some practice.
How old were you guys when you guys started playing hockey?
Young.
I was like around 7 when I started playing roller hockey.
I think I was first grade, however old that is.
Whatever sport, like first year sports would be.
Yeah.
So David, you've been in the All-Star game twice. You've had that experience. I think you're the savvy veteran now. Have you shared the experience with your teammate and what it's going to be like? I mean, we're not playing it at the Honda Center this year. We're playing at the Great Park. But
really? This year?
Yeah, we're going to be at the Great Park, which has an arena, which is, it's going to be a different experience, but I think just the same experience. Have you shared that with anybody?
I have.
Yeah.
For the most part.
He's been very good. I look up. I mean, 2-time All-Star. He's going for 3 now, looking for 4 in his career. You really got to look up to him as a veteran. So I mean, I'll just try to learn from him, see how he does things, because he's been there.
And you get to bring back the information of that new rink down there at 5 Point Arena. Because we're going to be the first for the team to be able to play there.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, you both play defense.
You'll enjoy it.
I play offense.
You forward? Okay. So you both will be doing different skills competitions, which is kind of fun. So we still have the skills competitions for you. So we're excited for you. It's going to be a good time.
Spoiler alert.
I know. Not too much, though.
Yeah, no, not too much.
Tell me some. So you guys play your last game today, this afternoon in the Ducks League, against Capo.
La Jolla.
La Jolla. I see so many games, I get them all mixed up. Sorry. But what you mean? David, do you scout the teams? Do you watch the teams as a coach? Do you try to call other coaches to find out information about them?
No, I mean, this year we've been so focused on just developing our own players. Right? Like I mentioned earlier, we're not so focused on the end result as we are as the in-game result. Are we getting the progress we need out of our players? This year we knew going in it was going to be a tough year. We knew it was going to be a growth year for our players. So we've tried to take the focus off of the wins and losses and really focus on, are our players getting better from one game to the next? Are we getting more of what we need from them long term? Really trying to take a long term view on it as opposed to just the short term wins and losses.
Yeah. Well, good. That's good to know. I appreciate that.
And David, before we let you guys go, I just want to ask this question real quick. You lead the team in both goals and assists so far this year. What has been the greatest asset for your guys' offense and to help you be able to provide offensively for the team?
Greatest asset? It's probably my chemistry and communication with my brother. As you may know, he's Kevin Nguyen, he's in a good team. And we're kind of on the same line for the most part. And I don't know,
You guys have been talking for years.
Yeah. Like off and on the ice, I just feel that connection we have on the ice. Like he'll know when I'll be somewhere at a certain time, and he'll know where I am. I don't know how.
Well, Chuck Lasik may not be here today on our show, but one thing he always says about you guys as a team, in all the years we've seen you come down here, is you guys always play all the way to that final buzzer, no matter what the score is. I know he appreciates it. We appreciate it too. And thanks so much for coming down here on the show today. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck in your final regular season game later.
Thank you guys for having us.
David Guy, Chris Smales, David Witt, and Griffin Burke from the Bellarmine College.
Thank you.
Joining us here today on the report card. They'll play their final regular season game at 1 o'clock today against La Jolla Country Day in a crossover game. Their final regular season game. And again, I quote Chuck Lasik, who's the schedule maker that came up with that? Give them a month and a half off before.
You better thank me.
I don't know who did that.
I don't know.
Actually, believe it or not, the way that schedule is made, just in full disclosure, is the teams give us the days they want to travel down.
Yeah.
So we take that, and that was their request. So we work into the schedule when they want to come down and how they want to, how many games they want to play, and it also works into how many games teams end up playing up north. So those months of June, July, and August when the schedule's being formulated are quite hectic. There's a lot of emails flying back and forth about who's coming down, who's not coming down, and who's going up, who's not going up.
Will all teams have a chance to play at the Great Park, 5 Points Arena?
Everybody but Bellarmine.
In the regular season.
Next season.
Oh, next season.
Oh, yeah. Especially with next season increasing to 20 games each.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, we might as well talk about that. Yeah. There was, we as a league put out a statement that we're increasing the number of league games for all varsity divisions next year to 20 games.
Yeah, so that makes we'll go 2 extra days.
I love watching them think. It's great.
Yeah, I like to think.
John LeBay. He's on. We're live. He's getting us. I love it. Welcome. live TV, everyone. It doesn't get any more real than that. We'll talk to Capistrano
Wait till he
United
starts throwing stuff at us. Then we know we're in trouble.
It'll be fun. But getting back to the schedule we were talking about for next year, varsity increasing to 20 games, JV going to 18.
So we get the feedback from the teams that we got was we want more games. We feel we're here to help those teams if that's what they want.
Absolutely.
I think it's a great move. It's a nice, good round number. We're going to start in the middle of October to end the same time we do, and teams are going to play on average 6 games a month. So they're going to be midweek games there. There's going to be a lot of busy action come hockey season, which is what we really want to try to compress it into a true winter sport, more or less,
exactly.
High school season. And I think we'll see how it goes. Obviously, there's a budget issue there with all the schools. But that was my big concern to the schools, but the schools came back and said, no, as long as we know ahead of time, it's in our budget. Yeah. They can put it in the budget. So
now with us increasing 20 games and 18 games, are we increasing more? Is there going to be more schools joining the league?
Boy, you just jump right to the gun, don't you?
I do.
You turned into an interview. I know. 60 minutes over here. I love this.
Yeah. The hope is that we'll get more teams.
Awesome.
We will discuss the best way to do that. We've got obviously some interest from schools, believe it or not, in the San Jose area that want to come back down, and other schools here. But there may be some ideas within the league management of how to get some other teams. So there will be other teams.
Awesome.
We want to grow it. We're going to grow it, and it's going to become as big as we can get it.
Remember when we used to have 1 or 2 or 3 games on a Saturday, and that was it.
That was it.
And maybe for a couple of weeks.
And we pushed it to 5 one day, a couple of Saturdays. And we're like, wow, that was a long day.
That's a lot. And now we're here talking about how they could be possibly playing 4 days out of a week next season. Wednesday through Saturday.
Wednesday through Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday are going to be league games. So I think, I think all of that will be busy. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but we'll figure it out. I mean,
awesome.
we try to have representation from a league at every game. So yes, we'll be busy.
We've got a game going on behind us right here. We got some JV action going on. Corona Norco and Edison getting ready to take to the ice. So that's the game you're going to hear in the background while we go on.
Nice.
Games going on all over the place. So we move on to segment number 2. Another Division II team joining us here on the report card, the Capistrano United Coyotes. Head coach John LeBay, Dylan Hoagland. We have Garrett Kennedy and Shane Dominic. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
I want to start with Coach LeBay. Since this program has begun, coming out of the gate, I know when Chuck and I were around, the commission too was like, okay, another new team is joining. And it only took a couple games to realize that this program was going to be something special. And here we are, all these years later, and you guys are perennial contenders. That's no secret to anybody else in the league. How do you guys stay in competition and at the top of that table every single year in and year out?
Well, I think we try to do our best to make sure we know all the players that are in our district that are available to us, and we try to provide a product from a practice standpoint that's going to make it competitive for them, make them want to play. And then also we've added some extra tournaments to get the kids enough games that it makes sense for them to want to keep coming back to our program. So, and I think last year with our seniors, they really set the program in that direction of making it not completely just high school, but for the most part, we've got 60 kids in our program, and 54 of them are just doing high school this year.
6 games left in the regular season for you guys. In pretty decent shape if you take care of business to grab that number 1 spot again. What are you looking to focus on over the home stretch of the season?
Well, we haven't seen Hoya play yet, and so we're looking forward to that matchup. And then obviously with Pack Ridge, we just got to find a way to beat them. So, look forward to the next time we match up with them as well.
Division II has been we've been saying parity all year long. Division II, it doesn't matter who you play. It seems like anybody can beat anybody. You bring up Pacific Ridge. They got swept by La Jolla Country Day. So it's everybody can beat anybody. Do you see it the same way going out there every night?
I'd say this is the most parity we've ever had in the league, which is great. You know, I think it's anybody's ball game this year, which is nice to see.
You guys, I don't know if I would call it an honor, but you guys had the privilege to play in the opening day game against Pacific Ridge in Carlsbad. It was 3 months ago. Do you guys, as players, remember that? Do you remember the opening day? Did the pump, the atmosphere help at all? Pacific Ridge, that was a big game for them. Do you guys remember playing in that game? Were you a little shell-shocked by it? Did you just not feel like you played a good game, or what were your takeaways from the opening day?
I would say it was a cool experience. Obviously, it was their homecoming game, so it was just packed. There were so many kids there, and it was cool, obviously, to be a part of it. So a little nerves, but not the outcome we wanted, but still, it was a fun experience.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. You guys, speaking of other privileges, you guys have had the privilege of playing at the Great Park one game this past week. Dylan, what do you think?
You get.
Okay, sorry. I mean, it was for the first period. I noticed I was looking around, skating up the ice. So it was awesome to see. I'd been there a week earlier, but I don't know. It was so different being on the ice and seeing everybody be able to stay in the stands. I mean, it was bad to see that kid get hurt, but I mean, other than that, it was a great experience, and I thought we had a great outcome. So.
How were the sidelines as a goalie? How were the sidelines as a goalie?
It was, I had the best seat in the house. Just being able to watch it all and take it in. It was a great experience.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah, I could add something there. We actually probably had about a couple hundred fans between friends and family. Our JV team came, our varsity team came to support us. We had some alumni there. Just because it's in our backyard now, so I think that's going to be great for these kids moving forward.
Are you are you going to embrace that rink? I know you guys practice in a different facility now. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to get into your plans for the next season, but do you guys want to try to embrace and make that your home rink, make it a home feeling for you guys as players and coaches?
I mean, obviously the facility is incredible. Glenn has been great supporting us through the years at Luso, and we'd like to keep that relationship as well. One of my concerns about entirely moving over to the Great Park is losing our footprint a little bit in the South Orange County. I don't want to get lost in the mix at the Great Park with all the schools moving over there. How do we maintain our identity? How do the South County kids know that this is their program and this is their school? So that's something that we're going to try to work through and make some decisions over the rest of this year, I guess.
Okay.
You talk about the program, and like you said, the Division III team was at the game the other night. You guys have 3 teams in the program now. What's it been like for you guys, even as a whole program, for you guys to see the young kids coming up, and coach, for you now having a 3rd team in the program? What's it been like having so many players dispersed throughout 3 teams?
I think for us, it gives everybody an opportunity to play at the appropriate level. Our JV kids, we've got some new kids that are coming into the program, but we also have some older kids that just like to play the game of hockey. And the same thing I'd say from our varsity 3 side, it gives an opportunity for those kids to play at the level. If they jumped into the varsity 2 side, I look at it last year against Bosco. When our varsity 2 team played them, we ran a short bench. We had a full bench, but we only played 2.5 lines every time we played them. So it didn't give some of our younger kids the opportunity to play. But unfortunately, that's what we had to do to beat Bosco. And so having a varsity 3 team gives our younger players and some of our maybe more inexperienced players an opportunity to play varsity hockey, have that experience, and with the goal of getting them into varsity too, down the road.
Speaking of all the different levels that you guys currently have, do you, just if we're selfish, is there a possibility for a 4th? Do you think there's enough players in the Capo district for a 4th team?
I guess it's a question for me, and I would say probably not right now. I really feel like we've got a foothold, or not a foothold, but with our coaching staff, and Joe Hunter, Nick Silver, Kevin Nagley, Bill Grace, and Sean Beatty as well, we've done our best to locate every single kid that we can and determine what level they're at. And I really feel like, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 kids in our district right now, we have all of them playing that are eligible. Next year or after this year, we lose 17 seniors. So the idea of going to 4 teams, I'm not sure that's an option. You know, I'd like to stay at 3. You know, that's our goal because I think, like I said before, it allows everybody to play at the appropriate level and have opportunity to play. Because we don't want to. You know, last year, again, we had maybe 41, 42, and we got a healthy scratchy kid every game, and we don't want to do that either.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you guys, when you practice, are all 3 teams on the ice at once, or are you splitting up the practices?
Garrett, do you want to answer this one?
Yeah. So we have on D2 and we practice with every team once. So there's 3 practices that we have. One, we practice with JV on Tuesdays and D3 on Thursdays, and it happens with JV and D3 too. They have that.
My next question is, how are you guys leading the younger teams to come up and eventually take over for you guys once you do?
Well, I would say when we're practicing with them, if they might not get the drill or they need help, us seniors in the leadership group that we have, we'll come to them and we'll help them. We're supportive of everybody in the program, and it's more of a family than I guess a program, and that's where I think we've had most of our success is we all love each other like family and brothers more than just teammates.
This is you guys went to Vegas for the first time in the Vegas Showcase. What did you guys think? Was it pretty fun? Was it good?
Yeah, we had a great time there, and
you guys played some great games, by the way.
Thank you.
There were some epic games there.
Yeah,
very exciting.
It was a good time though. You guys stay in the Red Rock Casino Hotel. Not that you guys partook in the casino, but the hotel part.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was good. Okay. You guys are all seniors, I think.
Yeah.
What are the plans next year? College, juniors. What are you guys looking to do?
I'm going to University of Arkansas for business. My sister went there, and my family seemed to kind of move out there lately. Like we have a few houses, and then they have a club program out there, D1 and D3, and they won their league last year. So once I get there, I'll probably try out for their club team and then get a business degree there, hopefully. So yeah, should be fun.
Yeah, and I'm either gonna go to University of Oregon or Cal Poly for architecture. So and play some hockey here and there.
Solid.
I'm not going to college just yet. I want to go play juniors. Still want to play at the highest level I can play.
Nice.
And I might do a couple courses here and there to get some college credit. Okay.
Good.
Shane and Dylan, if you guys know, this guy went to Capital Valley. Talk about the Capital Valley family. What's it been like for you two guys to go through your high school together and be able to play for this program?
It's been cool. Obviously I missed my sophomore year, so that wasn't, I didn't know, but I've always known Dylan since middle school, and we've always kept in touch about how hockey's going, everything like that, and we've gotten closer over the years, so it's been cool to have, I think we have 6 or 7 kids that play on the Coyotes that go to Capo, and we all hang out with each other, so.
Yeah, that was my follow-up question. You guys hang out together, go to the dances together, that type of stuff? Is that,
me and him, we lunch together, we have English together, and then it was awesome because we started D3 together, so we knew that we were going to be the...
Does the school still have the indoor quad with the stage and all that kind of good stuff?
So
all that whole Some things never change. Yeah. For our senior prank, we ended up putting a car inside that quad, just as an FYI. One last question. Operation. Well, I'm not sure for me. You guys play Oulu today?
Yep.
Later today? Do you as a coach or you players watch their videos online? Do you kind of ask other buddies what Oulu's like, how they play, and do you do some research on them?
Not Oulu. I haven't done any research on them yet, to be honest. I'm expecting them to be a great game. For it to be a great game. They've done a great job of turning their program around this year and getting a lot of players back in and involved in their program. So that's a real positive for them and for the league. And so just look forward to a great game.
Yeah, I was at school the other day, and sometimes I look at stats, but yesterday I knew it was a D1 team, so I looked at they're leading point getters and guys who are just contributing consistently, and they have a few 10-point score guys that are putting up multiple points a game, and
as a defenseman, do you know who you look for their number?
Yeah,
you look for their scores are?
Okay. So I'm letting our other defensemen know, and then Blake Andrews, he seems to always be out there when I'm not, which is awesome to see. So I'm letting him know who's out there, and then especially on the penalty kill, if they're out there, make sure watch these guys, be sure of them.
I want to ask you guys
Check.
What's it like to watch Shane and Joel and Zach play in front of you on a regular basis?
As a defenseman, when you stand on the blue line, you pretty much know you're not going to have to come back. They have the puck down low, and if they lose it, you know somehow they're going to get it back, whether it's in the neutral zone or just keeping it down low. I mean, Zach Lane's a workhorse. Joel really knows how to protect the puck, and then Shane has everything. He has speed, he's got shot, he's got his hands, he's got everything.
Now, you're all, last question before we let you go. You're all wearing the blue bracelets. What is that significant? What's the significance there?
So we went to Nigu the other day, went to their facility, and we just wanted to show our support, and also we helped out in unboxing stuff and helping create joy jars that they usually do for the kids that are in need and want some support in the hospital.
So the whole team did this, the whole organization?
Our whole D2 team, yeah, so it was a cool experience. And
great. Oh, that's good to hear. Okay.
We had to switch some things up. We had some technical difficulties, so I look a little different.
Yeah,
This is fun.
Okay.
Technology is fun.
Yeah. Well, I got plenty more questions for you. What's your favorite subject in school?
History for me.
Nice.
I like English for me. English.
Yeah, history, math sometimes when it works out.
What do you guys do to mentally prepare for a game?
For me, I usually take a nap, then I drive to the rink. I'm a big music guy, so I like to get into my music and make sure I visualize what I want to do during a game, and basically that, and just not necessarily get myself hyped up, but get myself prepared to go out there and play my best.
For me, I just like to just have some own time and just focus on myself, not really worry about the other team, but focus on my own game.
Same here, music. I like to just relax for the first 2 hours before the game, and then as a team we always have to listen to one song, and it's Chicken Fried. It's always been a tradition. We started it last year, and pretty much seems every game we play, we always seem to win. So I
heard that's your coach's favorite song too.
Yeah, he loves it.
Do you guys have a certain food that you eat before the game, or certain food that you eat after?
Any superstitions
Any
you do?
superstitions or anything?
None for me.
No?
I
used to. Full of them. You'll be talking for days, right?
Yeah. I'm weird. I don't really have that many superstitions other than just tapping the pads as I get on the ice and just tapping the post and stuff like that. Just little quirks and that stuff.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you guys coming out.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah.
You guys, 10 All-Stars this year from the program, 4 of them seniors. A job well done, Coach. Testament to you, of course, and much success in the future. Good luck later on today against Orange Lutheran, and thanks again for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming up. Okay, thanks guys.
The Capistrano United Coyotes joining us here today on the report card. Of course, you saw Coach John LeBay and then Shane Dominic, Garrett Kennedy, and Dylan Hoagland. And my goodness, you want to talk about impressive programs and teams that are committed to making this league better. They're one of the gold standards.
I agree. They're pushing the envelope every year. They want to get every kid playing, which is admirable. And no matter what the talent level is, they come out and play for the Coyotes. They got a great program, they're great support, there's great community involvement. You drive around, I happen to live in South Orange County. You drive around, there's Capo Coyote stickers on cars, and you see them around town. So, I have a special kinship, obviously, to the Capo Valley kids, but it's a great high school. I'm not going to say what class I was in, but yes.
Would their 4th team be a junior high team?
Who knows?
Well,
yeah.
Speaking of junior high,
there is a junior high league coming out. So
you want to talk about that a little bit, Commish?
I guess we are starting a junior high league. For those that don't know, it's we're going to be in pretty much this season is going to be a trial run at it, and we're going to start in April and kind of run through May and June, and we'll go from there. See what we can get. If the schools want to look at it as a recruiting situation, we'll look at it that.
That's awesome.
So as long as we can get Christian's help here, we'll be okay. So
we're going to talk to one of the players of the month here in just a little bit. So, but like you were saying. Oh no,
it's all right. He's still recovering from his Disney World trip. He's not fully there yet.
So you want to talk about the recap?
He's still on vacation.
Yeah, Christian's Johnny on the spot here today.
Well, let's talk about our other
I think
players.
it's too cold being inside here.
Well, it's a,
Because we're supposed to be out front. You know that, right?
Well, I'm a little chilly.
There was a big discussion about this, and while we're inside, I'm still debating. I'm still not quite sure why.
I'm not sure why either, because it's a little hard to hear.
And it's cold in here.
And chilly.
Who wanted
I'm gonna
inside?
go. I'm gonna go. You guys got this. You don't need me. This is what happens when I work with substitutes. Iceman Laser, please come back soon.
Oh no, we got it under control. Don't worry, boys.
It's all right. It's all right.
Have a good time.
Happy to fill in all the time.
Mike Perkins and Chuck Lasik out of town this week.
This is what you
Hopefully we get them. This is why I'm taking next week off.
So let's.
Anyway,
where are you going next week?
Do you have on this list? Do you have on list for the All-Star games?
I'll fill in for you. Does that mean I get the
next
middle?
week is the All-Star game reveal. Right?
Next week is the All-Star, the team reveal. Who's going to play with which
player
team and which
what
plays
skills competition? That's next week's show.
That is next week's show.
Got it.
That you're going to handle
by yourself, with the help of me.
What?
Perkins and Lasik will be back next week. They'll be able to help out with that. Let's
Yeah.
move on now. We're going to talk about our players of the month from the month of December. We're going to start in Division 1 from Santa Margarita Catholic High School. Of course, Joshua Hayden, who has just been an amazing sophomore, the transfer from Mater Dei, of course, and he's been lighting Division 1 on fire and has led Santa Margarita back to the top.
Yeah. He's been doing very well. He's solid. He seems to be like a clutch player. Whenever you need a goal or it's getting a little tight, he seems to come through.
No, that's absolutely true. So Josh Hayden from Santa Margarita, Division 1 Player of the Month. For Division 3, we're going to skip ahead just a little bit. Evan Pollock, who was a goaltender for Corona Norco, stopped all 44 shots he faced in a couple of games last month, and the Stingrays looking good in D3.
Yeah, I happened to see them play the other day. They look very good. Good, solid D3 team. I think I look forward to that D3 competition as it moves on to the playoffs. I think there's some teams I think that can surprise some people. I think the level of play will be really high as the championships move on. So I'm excited about the Division 3.
Yeah, Division 3.
It's wide open. And the way the playoff structure, you're going to have a playoff show. The way the playoff structure is, the conferences have their own championship games first.
Right.
So, and then the winners of those go to the final. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and we will have a playoff show, by the way. We do have a playoff preview.
Okay, good.
That's coming on down the pipeline. So that's your Division 3 Player of the Month, Evan Pollock from Corona Norco, who's had a pretty great month, 44 out of 44 saves and a couple of wins. Let's go back to Division 2. Our Player of the Month from Division 2, joining us here live on the set, over the report card, Benedict Klepetko from St. John Bosco. Benedict, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. So let's talk about the Braves a little bit and your time with the team. This past month obviously went well for you guys. How much fun has it been to play for this Bosco Braves team and be on a team that can win so many games at any time?
Yeah, I like it because we got so many games. In the beginning of the season, I could play for JV and varsity, so I had like two or three games in the week. And we got a great coach, Tomáš Kapusta, and we get like 3 or 2 lines, so we get big ice time, and it's great.
What's it been like to play for a coach like Tomas, who's been able to help you guys develop over the last couple of years?
Does he push you guys hard in practice?
Yeah, we focus for playing in small spaces, small areas, one-on-one, and these things.
Okay, yeah, a little bit more working on the
the small stuff. Good. I mean, is he a boisterous? We don't see. He doesn't get in trouble a lot, so I really don't talk to Thomas a lot. Is he a loud coach? Is he boisterous on the bench? Does he push the right? You feel he pushes the right buttons? Is he boisterous in the locker room?
Yeah, sometimes when we play bad, he's
okay. So he's a typical coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, when you look at the team as a whole, what do you think are some of the things that your team does really well, and what are some of the things that you think the team could improve on as you get closer to the playoffs?
I think we should improve back checking because, we get a lot of goals from when we got just 4 players, you know. The area in front of the net, we get the troubles there. So,
What do you think you do real well? What are some of the good things that you guys are able to put together?
We use all chances what we got, we score, and we play like a team. So
Yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. They really do take advantage of all their opportunities out on the ice.
Yeah. What? You're a junior?
I'm freshman.
Okay, freshman. Wow. Okay, good for you. Wow. So you got 3 more years of it ahead of you of hockey. I mean, at least of this hockey. I mean, where do you want to? Do you want to keep playing hockey after high school? Do you want to keep moving on?
Yeah, sure. I want to keep playing hockey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about when you're coming over here about playing in the league? Is it a good level of hockey for you?
Oh yeah, it's very good, pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Who do you guys consider as your rivals when you go out? Which team do you think is the team that you guys look forward to playing every time and you really want to beat them?
I think Capistrano United.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, good. Glad they were just here too, so you can see them.
Yeah. Well, it feel good. They said the same thing about you, so the feeling is mutual. Do you attend Bosco? You attend St. John Bosco as a combined school, but you attend St. John Bosco?
Excuse me?
You go to the school?
Oh yes.
What's your favorite class?
What's my favorite class? Physical education.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally somebody says an honest answer. Oh, I love it.
Yes.
Exactly.
What do you think of the school? Is it a good school?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Have you been to a football game or any other stuff?
Yeah. Yesterday I was on a freshman basketball game.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. You play the basketball team?
Oh no,
you just
I
watch
just
it?
watch it.
Okay.
Do you play any other sports?
Oh no, just hockey.
Just hockey.
Developing
What's do you have any superstitions that you do before a game? Anything you do every day before a game? Do you eat chicken? Do you what do you
I try and turn off my phone and focus on
That's the right answer, by the way. That's turn off your phone. I like that answer. That's a
I
good
think Tomas is going to be happy that he said that.
Yes.
Do you eat anything before a game? Same thing?
oat milk.
Oatmeal.
And drink tea, green tea, and
Wow.
that's
Oatmeal and green tea.
I'm worried about the health. The medic liked that he said that, by the way. The health guy.
Healthy guy.
Green tea's good.
Now you're a forward.
yes, I'm center.
Do you have when you're on a breakaway? What would be your signature move to score? What would you do? Can you pick up?
I like a lot of movings and with the sticks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Well, we wish you continued success. Good luck with your high school career with St.
thank
John
you.
Bosco. Good luck going into the playoffs. We'll be looking forward to seeing you guys coming down the line. Benedict Klepetko, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's very good.
Benedict Klepetko from St. John Bosco, the player of the month from Division II, joining us here on the report card. He's just a freshman. They got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, pretty good.
All right, Matt, the moment is here.
Okay, here we go.
We've been waiting for this. Boyko, you're in for something special.
I'm ready to do this.
This is the
top five regular season games in league history.
You start at number 1?
No, we start with five. Did you read your?
How about number 5?
I gave you the script in advance. At least you could have glanced at it.
Okay. Top 5 games of all time. So this is of all league games.
Now, let's point out just a couple of these things. First of all, we had to remember the games. That was the hardest part. We had 10 years of games to look through.
Yep. Multiple divisions.
You
only got top 5?
Hey, we were on a time.
And it's a top 5 situation. We did the top 5 teams last month. 2 months ago?
We did the top 5 teams in history about a month ago.
Yeah.
Now we do top 5 regular season games.
And we've got video. We've got video of some and some not of others.
Yes, we have video of some. Some video didn't exist back then. A few of these games are from a couple games from the same season.
Okay.
We've got the same team appearing multiple times.
Well, if it's a top 5 game, it's a top 5 game. No matter
nothing you can do.
Yeah,
it's just coincidental.
Yeah.
That's how it
I'm
works.
with you.
Let's go
Number
with
5.
number 5 from January 28th. 2014, Los Alamitos beats Damien 5-4, and the reason this one stood out to us, Damien had a 4-2 lead late in the game, and Los Al put up 3 goals in a minute, including the game winner with 34 seconds to play. One of the great comebacks in league history, and it's the Griffins who kick off our list at number 5.
Well, in 2014, Damien was a powerhouse. And they had
Alex Kalow?
Yes, Kalow. They had Kalow on offense, and they had goaltending. that was still the Arnie Pappen era.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was the Arnie Pappen era.
We didn't even have a clock on the scoreboard as you're watching this at home, the clips from that game.
But those were well-coached Damien teams. And for Damien to blow a lead, give up a lead that late, that by 2 goals was not Arnie-like.
No.
I mean, Arnie, I love Arnie to death, but he doesn't like that stuff. So
there's a legend that's what forced him to move. No, I'm kidding.
But that was a great game. I mean, these games. I mean, the boys battled hard for Los Alamitos, and you can see the celebration there. I mean, the celebration to come back and tie it in the minute, that was great. I mean, it was a tremendous game. I mean, that game was again worthy of number 5, I would say.
Remember Anthony DeMarco on that team just blazing through everybody as the Griffins came back and with 34 seconds left got the game winner. Huge comeback for the Griffins. So that's our number 5 game, regular season game of all time in league history. We move on to number 4, and this one, there wasn't a ton of debate about this next game. We were talking about it over lunch a couple of weeks ago. Back from November 5th, 2016, Orange Lutheran beats Santa Margarita in overtime, 1-0.
And this game, this brings back memories for me only because I was here for the first period and I had to go to a dinner event. And thank goodness for Black Dog because I put the phone on my table where I was having dinner and watched the end of the game. Because you could sense this game had something special to it in that both teams were playing hard but they weren't getting anywhere.
Yeah.
And you're just like, man, what's going to happen and who's going to win this game? And it was physical, it was hard fought, end-to-end action and saves and all kinds of stuff. And you're like, what's going to happen? And I can remember at the dinner table watching it and going like, wow, and my wife, God bless her soul, is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't want to see the end of this game. She's like, did you get enough of it? I'm like, no. But I mean, the players on both teams are epic and ADHSHL players. I mean, the names can go on forever.
Yeah, a lot of names in the record books.
Yeah, a lot of names in the record books. But that one interception by right here, and Furry comes up, and I'm standing, I get up at my table. I'm like, oh my God, it's Breakaway! And, it was just a great game. I mean, that to me was one of the best games the league has had.
Jacob Furry off the steal. You remember Jacob Furry, Jonathan, and how well he did for that Orange Lutheran team. Took that puck, went coast to coast, and just ended things almost in a blink of an eye after neither team could break through for almost 54 and a half minutes, I think it was, they went scoreless, and Jacob Furry ended it, and that goal will long live in Orange Lutheran and Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League lore. Yeah, we got live video. How about
I didn't know that.
So it was, I mean, to me that easily should have made the top 5, and it did at number 4, which I find interesting because to top that, I think, is the other 3 are good selection. So
they are.
Move on.
So number 3, and how about this? Los Alamitos makes the list again for another incredible victory that they have. Let's rewind the clock to January 5th of 2014. It was that same year they beat Damien. This Los Al team back then. I'll tell you what, they beat Capistrano United 8-7. Mike Townsend is standing off camera here. He's not going to like to listen to this one, but we're going to make him do it anyway. This game went to overtime. The Griffins won it 8-7, and the interesting part of this one actually happened very early on. It was the end of the first period, and this was back when Gardner was coaching the team. And he decided with 10 seconds left to pull his goaltender and put an extra attacker on with an offensive zone face-off, and it didn't work out. Los Al stole the face-off.
As much as I feel for Gardner, that play alone really made the game. That was
really
kind of fun. Everybody in the stands went, oh, what just happened?
Los Al stole it off the face-off and went the other way in 10 seconds and scored an empty netter in the first period. And
even the referees were unsure what happened.
It was one of the most bold coaching decisions we'd ever seen. It didn't work out, and you know what? It's one of those where if they would have scored, greatest decision in league history. What a genius move! And then of course it turns around and ends up going the other way for them, unfortunately.
But this, I think, was the only Capo loss all year.
It was. It was the only game they lost all season. They went on. They won the championship, and here's the play in overtime that ended up winning it for Los Alamitos. They won 8-7.
15 goals. I mean,
15 goals in that that game also, But if it wasn't for that empty netter, there probably wouldn't be overtime. Capo would have went undefeated throughout the whole year. They won the championship anyway that year. I mean, we're ragging on the one thing they did wrong all season.
But it was a great game. It was a good game. Up and back and forward. I mean, with 15 goals. It was great.
No, that was an amazing game.
That was a great, good selection there at number 3.
Early January game too. So and Lossow wins that 1-8-7. All right, number 2. We talked about teams being on this list multiple times. Orange, Lutheran, and Santa Margarita make the list again at number 2 this time. And we rewind the clock to September 24th of 2016, so early in the year.
It's the same year.
Same year as the other Oulu SM game. These two teams played a couple of epic battles, and this one happened before the 1-0 game. Orange Lutheran.
And I remember this game, when this game happened, we said this was an epic game.
We did.
When this game ended, we said this was one of the best.
And I remember sitting there saying to ourselves, if we ever do a show, and we put together a list of top games, this one is going to make the list. And it makes it at number 2. Orange Lutheran wins it 7-5. They scored first, led 1-0. Santa Margarita scored 5 in a row, real quick, in the second period. Between the first and second periods, went up 5-1. And then Orange Lutheran grabbed one late in the second to make it 5-2. And even at 5-2, all of us kind of looked at each other and went, something's going on here. And it did. Orange Lutheran ultimately scored 6 consecutive goals, all unanswered, of course. They win it 7-5 in one of the greatest comebacks in league history, and it makes our list at number 2.
And I remember this game because I want to say it was Adams, Joe Adams behind the bench.
No.
It could have been Dan, I forget which one, but one of the Adams grabbed the water bottle at the 5th goal for Santa Margarita, and that water bottle didn't exist after that throw. He threw the water bottle against the bench. The cap came off, sprayed everybody, and you're like, oh my God, it's 5-1. They're losing it. Oulu's just they're gonna fall, And I don't know what that water bottle had in it, but it was something magic, Whenever a coach loses it on the bench, whether he's throwing a water bottle or
clipboard. Clipboards,
or we had an epic one of sticks in Vegas where a coach threw multiple sticks on the bench in Vegas to get his team going. I don't know what it did. I mean, not that I condone throwing.
No, not at all.
But obviously the coaches know their team. But that came back, and then you're right. They scored 1 goal, and you kind of can sense it from that point on. It's like something's happening here where Santa Margarita doesn't normally give up leads like this, and they normally will crush somebody and go to runtime in the 3rd period because the runtime was a rule then. And,
yes, it was. Yep.
And they'll get somebody to runtime, and it's over because the team gets down. But Oulu's credit, they came back and. Man, that was a great game. That was, I remember that. That was a great game.
The second greatest regular season game in history. Oulu beats Santa Margarita 7-5 after being down 5-1 in a game back in early 2016. Lances went on to win the league title that year.
Both those teams were really good that year.
They were both really good,
That's why those games were pretty good. I mean,
they had that great controversial epic state championship game they played here that year too. Yeah, Jonathan, you remember that one? You were here for that. Yeah. That was a fun day. Especially at the end. All right. It's the moment of truth. We come down to the greatest game in league history, and for this one we actually have to look at the camera because no video exists of this game, but we remember it fond in our minds. From February 6th, 2010.
2010, 9 years ago.
This was the first year that Chuck and I started calling games for the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. Black Dog Hockey wasn't around, so we had no video. Chuck and I were doing radio at the time, so there was just radio calls. We couldn't even find the audio for this, so we have to just talk through it. But the number 1 game of all time didn't even have a winner. Santa Margarita and Jay Serra tied at 2 goals apiece. And the reason why this game was so epic, it was so early in the league's development. It was the first time Jay Serra had a league opponent to play against. And it was Santa Margarita. These two schools, of course, have now formed what Chuck now calls the mother of all battles, which is a moniker that has stuck in this league.
I think it's this game.
And this is the game that started it all.
This is the game that really birthed this name of mother of all battles. I mean, this game was a battle. If you look at the score sheet, which we found.
We found the score sheet.
And It was a battle. I mean, there were penalties on each side, probably 7 or 8. There was, I don't think there was a fighting penalty, but there was a lot of roughings. There was.
It's the rivalry between them.
It's what birthed the rivalry.
The rivalry was there to begin with, but this really, in all sports, but this one, 2-2. The way they tied it, is going to go down in Santa Margarita history.
Yeah.
The way they tied it and the viciousness, but the intensity of the game was great.
And for such an early time in this league to have so many fans and supporters in the building for this one. To recap, Jay Serra led 2-1, and they thought they had this thing wrapped up as time was winding down, and Brian Hodges from Santa Margarita had other ideas. He put the puck in the back of the net with 0.2 of a second left. And
0.2 of a second? Because on the score sheet it says 1 second.
It says 1 second because officially you have to say 16:59, but it was 0.2 on the clock when the puck crossed.
There was a scrum in front of the net, and again, physical play, he pushed it in, and bingo.
And we didn't play overtime back then.
No,
that game ended after regulation, so it was a 51-minute game. And Jay Serra looked like they had it after 59.08.
Half of the bleachers was Jay Serra, half of the bleachers was Santa Margarita.
The crowd erupted on, to our right when that goal went in. Brandon Loera was the goaltender for Jay Serra that day, Connor O'Brien for Santa Margarita, and they both had a great day. And just a couple of goals for each side. Just the timing of one is what made this the greatest game in regular season history in the Anaheim Ducks High School.
And I would agree. I mean, the birth of the rivalry, the way it was won, the intensity of the game, to me, by far and away the number one game.
Absolutely.
Good selection.
So in our next show, we're going to run down the All-Star Game teams. The All-Star Game January 31st over at 5 Point Arena at Great Park Ice. JV up first at 4, varsity at 6, seniors at 8. All the players know who's going to be in the game. They just don't know which team they're playing on or who their coach is going to be. So we'll reveal that on the show.
The team names.
The team names will be announced.
The jerseys.
Are we going to get the jerseys? We talked about trying to get the jerseys. Do we know?
Depends if the jerseys come in.
Depends on if the jerseys come in. We hope to. I'm glad you brought it up. That reminds me to send an email.
If
the jerseys are in, we'll debut the jerseys.
And the skills competitions too. We're going to talk about those because we've changed a couple of them. So it's going to
There's a new skills. One skill.
You mean Matt's going to join and skate?
Matt, we're going to have the commish on the ice and skates.
No.
Who could beat the commish?
Pretty much everybody at this point.
I don't think the deputy commish could beat you on skates, so we'll put it like that.
But no, all the skills competitions I think are going to be. I'm excited about the new one. I think that's
I like it too.
fun.
Who's the faster skater, Chris or Matt? Christian or Matt?
We might be there for a while. That might take up a lot of the time over at Great Park.
So we look forward to the All-Star Game. Next week's going to be a good show because we've got that and many other schools coming out. There's one school, Santa Margarita next week.
I think St. Mary's will be here as well. They have 2 trips over the next
you're right.
couple
I
of
think
weeks.
it's St. Mary's.
So we'll have Santa Margarita. Should have Santa Margarita on the show next week. St. Mary's and Jay Serra will be our not our season finale, but before we get to our playoff preview, they're going to join us. Is the plan? Things could change. After all, this is our 3rd last show in Anaheim.
Things change all the time.
So next week's show is the first one at the Great Park.
Yeah, right.
Too bad you won't be there.
Too bad I won't be there.
Too bad you won't be there.
Don't worry, you can watch.
I will be watching. Yes, that is true. Okay, so looking at my watch here, we had some great guests today. We took up a lot of time.
Good.
We're going to jam through the recap, and we haven't had a show in a month, so we got a lot to go over here. Let's see if we can do this in about 5 to 10 minutes. Boys, we ready? Let's rewind all the way back to December 22nd. We started in Division 1. Santa Margarita beat Orange Lutheran 6-3. John Mulvihill, a couple of goals in that one. It earned him Player of the Week honors for his efforts that weekend. We'll go to our first games of the new year, the new calendar year. Vegas Gray beat Bellarmine 7-1. Heath Mensch had a hat trick and an assist. He earned Player of the Week honors in Division 2 for his efforts in that one. And then the following day on Saturday the 5th, Santa Margarita over Bellarmine 6-4. Max Sullivan and Josh Hayden contributed a couple of goals for Max and a goal for Josh as well. Damien beat Bellarmine 7-0. Jalen Cordura, a couple of goals, 4 assists in that one. That earned him Player of the Week honors for a couple of weeks ago. January 11th, Orange Lutheran beat Tahoe 5-2. Five different goal scorers. I think attests to how Olu is coming. I mean, they're on the way up. I think they had a good game last night against Bellarmine in their victory, in shootout. So we'll talk about that one here coming up in just a little bit. Then Jay Serra beat Bellarmine back on the 11th as well. Luke Spencer had a couple of goals. in that win up in San Jose. As a matter of fact, I think we were watching that one too while we were calling it at the same time. January 12th, so this Saturday, Santa Margarita beats Tahoe 6-2. Brennan Williams, couple of goals and assists for the Eagles. He was first star of that game, and it was senior day, so the sophomore got first star of the game on senior day. How about that? And then Jay Serra beat Bellarmine 5-0, sweeping the weekend up there in San Jose. Blake Reed had a hat trick in that one for the Lions. Orange Lutheran beat Damien 6-3 over in Lakewood. Luke Ellis and Josh Renton had a goal and a couple of assists each. Tahoe over La Jolla Country Day 6-4. Austin Chesworth, a goal and 2 assists for Tahoe. He was our first star of the game in that one. And then St. Mary's beat Jay Serra 6-1. How about that win for the Rams up in San Jose? Alex Cano had a hat trick, and he was the Division I Player of the Week to start the year. Didn't earn it for this week, but a great win for the Rams.
Yeah, no, it puts them in the right spot, because the next day they took on Bellarmine and beat them 5-2. So, you know, a good weekend for St. Mary's to jump back into the thick of things here in Division I.
Absolutely. They could actually climb out of the hole because they've got 5 more games and Bellarmine's got only 1. They're within 2 points of each other. So a chance for the Rams to get out of the cellar here as the stretch of the season comes on. Luca Petroni, a couple of goals and an assist in that win over Bellarmine. Pacific Ridge beat Tahoe 6-2 on that same day. Hayden Shoemake and Jack Cadju had a goal and an assist as well for the Firebirds. And then a midweek game, our first one, that Wednesday the 16th, where Jay Serra played La Jolla Country Day. Or was that our second midweek game? We had a game on the 9th, right? The 16th, just a few days ago, our second midweek game, Jay Serra beat La Jolla Country Day 6-2, and it was a momentous occasion. Blake Reed got an assist in that one for Jay Serra, his 100th career point as a member of the Jay Serra Lions, and his 96th Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League point, and he is far and away the all-time leader in that category.
We have to update the record book.
We need to go back to the record book.
We need to work on that. Yes.
We've got some work to do. And then, of course, Matt alluded to it, the game last night here at Anaheim Ice. Orange Lutheran beat Bellarmine 4-3 and 2-1 in a shootout. Taylor Raleigh, a couple of goals, and he had the game-winning shootout goal as well. On the other side for Bellarmine, Spencer Knapp had a couple of goals as well, and I didn't know he was a producer. We found that out earlier.
Yeah, you learned something.
He's a jack of all trades, that Spencer Knapp, I tell you what. So you take a look at the Division I standings. Santa Margarita at the top, 9-2, 25 points. Damien just 1 point behind them. And they've played the same amount of games, so it's going to be a fun one going down the stretch. Jay Serra right behind, 7-2-1. They've got 22 points. Tahoe at 19 points at 6-5-2. Olu trying to press their way up the standings. They're 5-5 with 14 points. They've got 6 games left, so plenty of time for them to make up some ground. Bellarmine 4-10-1 with 12 points. Last night was Bellarmine's first overtime loss of the season. St. Mary's 3-7-1 with 10 points. Of course, they've got 5 more to go. Looking at the schedule today, 4 Division I games. Both games will be on Black Dog Hockey. We'll have La Jolla Country Day and Bellarmine coming up at 1 o'clock. Capistrano United and Orange Lutheran later on tonight at 6:50. We'll jam through Division II.
Well, I'll just say, we talked about it earlier with Capo, but the parity there, parity in Division I and Division II is good. I mean, from a league perspective, you don't know who's going to win on what given day, so you got to play the games. I think it's great.
Both of these games today are crossover games, and they're both probably going to be pretty close.
Yeah. So I think it's good.
Division II, back to December 15th, a month ago, Pacific Ridge beat Bosco 5-4 down in Carlsbad. That was an overtime game. William Schneider had a couple of goals, and the overtime winner as well. He was player of the week that week for his efforts. La Jolla Country Day beat Vegas White 5-3 on January 4th. Justin Kaufman had a couple of goals and an assist. The next day, Pacific Ridge beat Vegas White. Getting choked up over here trying to do this very quickly.
You're doing a lot of talking.
Firebirds.
Want to take a break?
No, we don't have time for that. We got to be on the air in about 45 minutes.
It's okay. Christian's good.
Firebirds beat the Knights 6-1. They had 6 different goal scorers in that win over Vegas White. Capistrano United over Vegas Gray 6-2. Shane Dominic 2 goals, 2 assists in that one for the Coyotes victory. And then our first midweek game. What a way to open it up than have Capistrano United and St. John Bosco. Coyotes won that one 6-2. Who did schedule that? You know, sometimes things just work out. Where's Chuck? It was Boyko. It was Boyko. It was the first Division II game ever played at 5 Point Arena. Shane Dominic and Merrill Sinare had a couple of goals each in that game for the Coyotes. So it takes us to the Division II standings. Pacific Ridge is on top. They're 8-2 with 22 points. They've got 6 games left, but Capo, they've got half their schedule left, and they've got 17 points. They're 6-2. They're more in prime position to take that number 1 seed if they take care of business all the way through the end of the year. I guess the one caveat for them is 5 of their last 6 games going down the stretch are going to be against Division I opponents, so they've got their work cut out for them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they do. So St. John Bosco 5-4-1. They've got 16 points, so they're up there as well. La Jolla Country Day hanging around. They're 5-6, but all of their wins are in regulation, so they have the full 15 points to their liking. And then, at the bottom, Vegas Gray with 8 points in Vegas White, still trying to find that first win of the season. But they've got to have their
and just
schedule
as an
to go.
FYI, the Vegas teams will play each other 3 times, and they'll play each other 3 times in Vegas. So
they got a long way to go.
First half in they got a lot of games ahead of them, but the first half in February, all those 3 games will be complete. So they play each other in Vegas.
And then our schedule today in Division II, Pacific Ridge going to play St. John Bosco at 2:15 over at Lakewood Ice. So a big one there. For Division III, we're going to run through the standings real quick. So we're running out of time here on the show. In the Catella Conference, Corona Norco, unbeaten in regulation this year, 7-0-1 with 22 points. They actually suffered their first loss of the season.
They look pretty good. I mean, they're a good-looking team.
They lost in overtime to Villa Park, the team right behind them by a point in the standings, in what was quite an epic battle at KHS.
Let's not get me started on that.
That game was played back on the 5th.
Falling out from my experience at KHS.
I think that's pretty accurate. That game was back on January the 5th. Villa Park, though, right behind 7-1-1, like we mentioned, just a point shy. And the reason why they're separated by 1 point is because Villa Park won that game in overtime and not regulation. Otherwise, they'd be in first place, as a matter of fact. Bishop Amat 7-3. They have 20 points. They're up there too. Don't forget about the Lancers.
They had a big win over Beckman during the week on Wednesday. Came back with a 3-goal deficit to win 4-3. So,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And then Beach City is right there as well. 14 points there at 5-5. That's the top half of the Catella Conference. The Douglas Conference, my goodness, is this thing a logjam. At the top, Edison 7-1-1. Central Cathedral is also 7-1-1, but Edison has the edge in points because they have one more regulation win than Central Cathedral does. Those 2 teams played quite a game. Just recently, it was an 8-5 Edison win. We were here for that one. It was here in Anaheim, and that was a penalty-ridden game. Things got a little out of hand in that third period.
They did.
So those 2 teams will battle.
Including a match penalty.
There was a match penalty in that game, for kicking, if I remember correctly. Poway, Beckman, North County, Capistrano United holding it down in the middle there. Irvine United as well. Those teams all within 4 points of each other. In the middle of the mess in the Douglas Conference, and then Santa Margarita at the bottom, 3-4 with 9 points, but again, a lot more games to go, and it's really anybody's game in the Douglas Conference, though Edison and Central Cathedral really separating themselves from the pack at this point. Central Cathedral will play Beach Cities today at 2 o'clock over at Lakewood. North County plays Capistrano United at 3:45 over at Lakewood. And then Mater Dei and Corona Norco tonight at 4:45 right here at Anaheim Ice. We'll get to see that one. It'll be right before our nightcap here tonight in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League.
Well done. I got to say kudos on your top 5. That was good. We talked about the games, but I think you put them in the good order. I think the top 5, I'm Los Al twice on there is a little bit of a surprise, but the other games are epic. I thought they were good. I thought they were good. I thought our guests were fantastic today.
We had a great day. We made it through an entire show with Jonathan Boyko too. Thanks for stepping in, Code 2. We appreciate
anytime,
it.
Anytime.
Yeah, thanks, Code 2.
Yeah.
Just
we had you for your looks.
Just some donuts next time.
Just some notice?
Just some donuts.
Oh, donuts. I said some notice. I'm like, I'll let you know ahead of time.
You know, like a
donut
table.
It's all about the food with Code 2. I walk into the building and the first thing he says is, how you doing? Good. Hey, man. What are you doing for lunch?
What are we doing for lunch? Speaking of lunch, what are we doing for lunch?
We're going to have to talk about that here in a minute, because I'm getting hungry too.
I'm pretty parched and hungry, yeah.
That's the actor in him that just came
I
out
have to go over to
camera.
Lakewood later today.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going over there today? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You won't be here for the night games then, will
you? Wait, you can have burritos.
Okay, we got to sign off. That's it. I'm done.
Oh my goodness. Special thanks to Andy Dickerson up at Black Dog Hockey for letting us use all this equipment and get this show streaming live. He ran all the videos too that you got to see during our show, so big thank you for him. He cut them together and he ran them. He does a lot for us here to bring you this show. So thank you to Andy for that. He's a great guy. And a special thanks always to Christian Hilton, who runs the camera and runs the show.
Yay, Christian!
Live on set. He gets a round of applause. We couldn't do this without him. You know what? Maybe one day we should have him on this side of the camp.
We're going to call him Elmer's.
You know, I mean, he could have done this and I could have done that.
Well, let's not get it out of hand.
I don't know. What he does is pretty technical. He's a highly paid technical director.
Highly paid technical director. That's why he's the best at what he does.
That's why we call him Elmer's.
Best in the business for nothing.
He's Elmer's. Okay.
Oh, for my co-host today, the Commissioner Matt Blanchard, and to Code 2, Jonathan Boyko. This is Eric Pessolano saying so long from the rinks at Anaheim Ice. Join us on Black Dog Hockey for our broadcast coming up at 1 o'clock. And then our next, the report card will be next week on the 26th, Saturday at 4 p.m. Oh, we got a primetime slot over at 5 Point Arena at Great Park Ice, so join us for that. It'll be a lot of fun. This has been the report card on Facebook Live. We'll see you next week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Are we off?